Hello everyone, Statname here, and today we're gonna go over 3 hands from the PokerBros poker room. But first, two main reasons why I think you should use statistics websites both during the games and when analyzing hands. First of all, deciding whether your opponent is a recreational player or not solely on his VPIP stats is not enough, often not enough. Sometimes you may think that you are facing a regular, but if you check him out on the statistics website, you may actually find that this guy is totally playable and you can actually make money playing against him. And second point, stats allow you to make more informed and more accurate decisions on pretty much every street. And right now I'm gonna show you how it works exactly. Okay, so first hand, hero is on the button with ace-jack suited, cutoff limps, we ISO raise to 5 big blinds, and then we face an ISO 3-bet from the small blind. And by the way, small blind is also a recreational player. Second track calls, and hero decides to shove. Well, that's an interesting shove, to be honest. Maybe hero does not know that this guy on the small blind is also a recreational player. If he's a regular, some regulars like to ISO 3-bet in spots like this really wide. And in this case, yes, we can shove hands like ace-jack suited, just to grab all the dead money. Okay, first let's go over the guy in the cutoff. His win rate is minus 52 big blinds per 100, his stats are 34-15, and usually when we see a guy with such stats, we expect him to lose around 30 big blinds per 100. But in this case, we are lucky enough to face a guy with these stats who is losing almost 52 big blinds per 100. We are, of course, happy to be at the same table with the guy. And how can we estimate that a guy with stats of around 34-15 is actually losing more than 30 big blinds per 100? Well, first of all, it's about when to showdown, of course. And also, we want to take a look at his fold by street stats. Okay, when to showdown 34. This is quite high, actually. Everything from 31 and higher is already too high. So yeah, he is a bit stationary, and this is why he loses much more than we expect him to at first glance. And his fold stats, he doesn't fold a lot on flops and turns, and on the river his fold is quite high. His aggression is very low, and he probably gives up a lot of small pots in different spots. And let's see the ending of the hand. First of all, this recreational player on the small blind, I don't know why, folds pocket queens. It's a huge luck for us, of course, and let's go over this guy as well. Also a rack, also a very nice rack. I have no idea how he managed to find this fold, like literally no idea. Maybe he thought that hero is way too needy, I don't know. But anyways, the cutoff guy calls, and he shows a 10-8 offsuit. Well, it actually doesn't really correspond to his pre-flop stats, but this is also probably the reason why he loses so much more than we expect him to with such stats. Minus 52 is really bad. But anyways, let's move on. Hand number 2, pocket jacks on the small blind, hero ISO raises against a limp from the button, and villain calls. So let's take a look at his stats. Clearly VIP player, loses 113 big blinds per 100. When to showdown is quite high, very low aggression frequency, so basically your average passive rack. Hero starts with the 2/3 bet, looks quite nice to me. On this board, villain calls, 9 on the turn, and hero decides to bet full pot. I don't really like the choice of size here, because if villain calls and we get some really bad river card, then the pot is going to be quite large and it's going to be really tough for us with our hand. So yeah, I would bet like 2/3 or maybe 3/4. And then if a brick comes on the river, we can shove the rest. Or maybe we can even switch to block betting on the river. But yeah, this is how I see it. Anyways, hero bets pot and faces a raise. Let's get back to this guy's stats. We remember that he is very passive. His aggression frequency on the turn is 23. His raise on the turn is 3%. So yeah, it's a clear fold for us. He would never raise with the bluff. And hero folds. Great job. And finally, hand number 3. This is our opponent in this hand, also a recreational player, and he also loses more than we expect him to with 38-23 stats. So, rec open limps on the cutoff, we ISO raise 2 of 4 big blinds on the button, both blinds fold, and rec calls. 9-5-3, we have a gut shot, and let's think about how do we want to build our strategy against this guy, considering his stats. So the guy is also stationing, his when to showdown is quite high, 36, he'll fold by street. Well, he doesn't really fold flops and turns, and river sample is way too low to make conclusions. But anyways, for us, it means that we should probably try to realize our equity and we should not try to bluff him out. Because it wouldn't really work. We probably won't make him fold a lot of hands. Well, probably the best way for us to play this hand is to bet third on the flop, then check back on the turn to get a free river card. Hero in the end bets 2/3. Well, probably this is also fine. It could be optimal because it is possible that the recreational player will fold more hands against a bigger size. So yeah, it is possible that he will eventually fold more than we see here in his stats. So we bet he calls, check back on the turn as planned, and we have a king on the river. Rec bets, and well, probably the standard line for us is to simply fold. However, hero thinks otherwise. He decides to raise, and let's take a look at his stats again to see if it's okay or not. His aggression frequency on the river is quite high, 38. Well, I mean, it's high enough for him to have some bluffs here. And also he could have called on the flop with some backdoor hands and then turned them into a bluff on the river easily. There weren't any draws on the turn, any flush draws I mean, and then with the king on the river, when he bets, he represents a king or a 9 from the flop. This is all that he basically represents with a bet like that. And that's it. In terms of value, I don't expect him to have anything else, and the rest is bluffs. I think we can make him fold all of those potential bluffs, but I think we can bet even smaller. Like 36, I think would be enough to make him fold all of those air hands. And for our hand specifically, it is enough for us to make him fold any 10 high combo to make our bluff good. So yeah, if we want to raise here, I think we should use a smaller size. But the idea to raise is totally fine. Well, eventually villain calls and shows a set of deuces. So we kinda got unlucky here on the turn. But anyways, hero played this hand well, I think. He could have played it a little bit better, but all in all, yeah, it's totally fine. Okay, this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We really appreciate any feedback, and see you next time.